just while I have you here, I want to answer a question, something I get a wee bit often. Basically, the render's failing and it's leaking. And somebody on recently, very recently, said, and I realise this is a hard thing to describe in a video, but they said that they were getting leaking at a render band they got. So they reckoned, all the plasters that came out and all said that they reckoned that it was failing because the render band was flat and the water was getting in that way around a window or door. I'm not 100% sure. I think window, right? But that's not the case, guys. Even if the render failed, it shouldn't leak. The house I'm in here, this house been built, and the windows and doors in maybe a year and a half, right? Now, where's the water? It has been raining from November to now to Easter. Where is the water, I guess? So why is it not leaking? Now, I haven't got the outside of this rendered. Why is it not leaking? It's because there's DPCs in. So to me, if your thing's leaking really bad at a window, it doesn't mean it's just the render. Yes, you're going to have to hack the render off regardless. Now, it is windy here, so you just might get a bit more noise. Hopefully not too bad. But I was explaining to the guy that the DPCs should stop the water coming in, and I just want to show what I'm talking about, because I realise that it's easier said than people understood. So this is your reveal, right? So he's got a band out here, and they reckon that the water was coming in around the band and then getting in the window. But look, there's the gap there, guys. That would be the gap. So without this DPC here, the water would be getting into the inside. So the idea with that DPC is, and I have an example here, is you scratch coat tight as you can to that DPC, which will come out. It'll beef out on the reveal, which will cover this gap, but it'll still leave the DPC nice and tight through the frame. So without that, even render, it can leak in round behind the render, yes. So there you go. Look, you can't see no gap now even behind my scratch, so I will cut that off now, and then I will finish that. I haven't got much room, these hinges, but that's how it's done, guys. And really, any water gets in through this block, hits that, comes down, and it's forced back out. The seam, there should be one wrap around this sill and up. You can see it in the inside of the window, so it should be underneath this sill somewhere. It's probably buried in, but again, there it is there. Look, again, water can get in, but it can get back out. Same as this, water can get in, but it should come all the way and back out the bottom. And so just want to jump back inside. So I hope that helps answer that question. So you can repair that. You're going to have to chip off ladder render, you're going to have to chip the bands off, and then you're going to have to somehow get some DPC slid in as far as you can, as high up as you can. There should be one along the top as well, and you can see I added an extra piece here. There, it's dangling, but there should be another piece coming down, and you want to go under it. You want to go under the one at the head, so the water's coming out. Hopefully I'm making sense of that. I can't remember who it was asked the question. I will try and find it, but like I just showed, guys, this house is not even plastered, and it's not soaking wet inside. It was raining very heavy there an hour ago. There is no, there shouldn't be any water coming in regardless of the render. Yes, I need to get this all rendered inside and out, especially outside, because damp will eventually, will come through, and eventually, how do you get gutters on in this house? But again, I could walk around this whole house, look at the dust. There's no water, nothing's damp, nothing's wet, guys. The proof is in the pudding. But yeah, so hopefully that helps answer your question. So all this, it's leaking from the render. You could render that a million times. That render will separate at the window because render doesn't stick to plastic very well. And you could silicone it, yes, and that probably will stop it, but it might only stop it for a year or two, and then that silicone, if that breaks down, water's getting in again. So my advice to you would be strip off all the affected area, because it's probably leaking at one side, which means that somebody hasn't put the DPC in, or it's get blew out in bad weather and they've just continued on, or the plaster originally cut it way back too far. So you want to get some, and it is not easy. You have to like scissor it in, but it can be done. Even if you do it in sections, just make sure that the lower one is underneath the top one. So if you have a piece in up the top, get the middle piece in under it, so that it's working like slates on a roof, and the water's constantly being pushed away from the inside. I hope this helps more than one person, but to me, as I showed there, it's been raining for months. The inside of this house is dry. Did have a leak up the chimney lid at once, well, both the chimneys, but I got the lids redone and tucked in properly. But again, you know, guys, the DPC, it has to be done on the outside. As you can see, here's one here at the bottom. It'll be cut off. I'm going to render this bottom there and cut that off. But basically that goes down and under. So any water getting in is coming out.
What we doing live? Echoes in eternity.
Like and subscribe to Plastering.